Wow. Can you believe that talking about pessaries and prolapse has been so successful? I've been asked to get Georgia, my fanny physio, back again. Georgia, you're back. Yay.
Yes, I am. I got some pessaries to show you.
Bought toys with you. You've bought some pessaries to show. So what we're going to do in this episode, we're going to talk more in depth about the actual pessaries. And we're also I've asked Georgia to talk into the examination, internal and external, because it's pretty real and it's great for women to understand what it's about. So I've been to gynos in the past. It's different, Georgia.
Yes, so I'm going to talk you through what happens externally and internally because it's very different to what happens when you go and see a gynecologist.
Yeah, and you make us feel super relaxed. So for those of you who have YouTube, you'll want to know she's not gonna examine me live on video. No. But you might want to go to my YouTube channel, go and search Healthy Life Hacks on YouTube and check us out because she's going to play show and tell with a bunch of stuff too. All right, let's dive into this episode. I'm excited. Takes nothing to keep me amused, Georgia. It's great to have you back.
Nice to be back. I was
I didn't
looking
know
forward
you
to
6 months
it.
ago. And look, now we're talking about fannies on.
I know, and I brought
You
everything.
bought all
I
the
got
toys.
all my tools. I got sticks as well and pelvises.
All right. So let's start. So because for real, when I came to you and I talked about in the last episode how I needed to get my prolapse more comfortable because I couldn't even sit right when it was hanging down, when in the initial stages. And you went, oh, need a pessary, blah, blah, blah. And you laid out a bunch of them. And I honestly went, what the fuck?
You did, I think. You're
I
like, that's
was
growing
in
inside of
shock.
me.
I was in shock. What's that?
Now you love it.
And
You have
now, Mark,
me.
I'm being honest, I can't say I love it. Am I very grateful for it? Yes, like I surfed this morning and I wouldn't be surfing without it. So it's been a learning, it's been a journey, and I'm very, very grateful for it. So, all right. So what have you brought along for show and tell for those playing on YouTube, especially?
Okay, so at last podcast, we talked about how there's different types of prolapse. So you can have a front wall of the vagina dropping down, and that's often the bladder pressing into the vagina.
Right.
So if I assessed you and you had that, I would give you usually a ring pessary. So they're all different shapes and sizes, but I wanted to show you that this is a ring. And it looks very scary when you look at it like this. But they're actually quite squishy, so I can squeeze it. So you can make
You
it
made a
quite
silicone,
small.
yeah.
So it's
And you
like
can you insert it like a tampon, hey?
yeah, like a tampon. So you press it in and then it pops open inside. And like I
So
said,
what's that holding back? That's holding back that wall, that front
yeah,
wall.
wall.
For those
So
who are just listening, it's a round donut looking thing, what, inch and a half across, something like that, because they come in different sizes.
yeah, all different sizes. I have
Yeah.
another ring here to show you as well. See, it's a little bit smaller.
Right.
But these are the two that I probably give out most frequently, these sizes. But I also have a large one to show you.
That, don't
Yeah.
look at
So
that.
it's a
My eyes
line
water.
but when you think about it, depending
Yes.
on the type of person, if you're needing support, you're going to need something that fills that space.
And because
So
babies squash out of there. It all
exactly.
big because you've had a baby
Yeah.
squash out. I haven't had a baby squash out between my legs, which is another thing. I've never birthed a child, yet I got a prolapse.
Yes. And so
There are different sizes.
if I gave you something really tiny and you needed this large size, it would just fall out and it wouldn't be doing what it's supposed to do.
So that's holding back the front wall, that donut
Yes.
kind of size, shape, ring size.
Then usually if you have a uterine, so you've got your vaginal walls and then
Yep.
you've got the uterus and the cervix at the top.
Yep.
If that's descending, then I would usually, this one looks scary, give
But that's
you,
what mine's done. Isn't that what my prolapse is?
yes, a Gellhorn or a cube.
Cube. I've got the cube. I've got the magic cube. I'm glad
Now,
you didn't give me that other scary one.
yes, now I gave you the cube because it's easier, I find, for you to insert and remove.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is more so for someone if they want to leave it in for a couple of months, which
Right.
you we
Adamant
didn't
I
want to
didn't.
go there.
No
So
way.
yeah, depending on the type of client you have. So someone would be like, oh, that's amazing. I don't want to deal with it. I want to leave it there for a couple of months. Then I would go more towards this shape.
Right.
But you can see as well that it's quite easy to squish.
Yeah,
And
they are
pop
squishy.
it.
They are pliable silicon. And
Yeah,
even the cube one I've got, definitely it squeezes.
yeah. And so like quite easy for me to squeeze.
And then
Um,
if you show, it's got like that one, the one I've got, it's got like a
there's a
silicone
little
loop off the
string.
bottom that works
Yes,
like a string on a tampon. So it's easy out as well.
yes.
Yeah.
So they are the pessaries.
Ta-da! All right, let's talk. And so please don't be scared of them. Honestly, I was shocked. This whole everything for me was, I was oblivious to it. I never thought I would be one to get a prolapse. And so my mind had never gone there. I'd never looked at it, researched, totally aware it can happen, knew none of the mechanics of it. And when you pulled them out, I honestly went, what the fuck?
Yeah, but I showed you them all and
You
you
did.
felt them and you got to see that they're actually quite pliable. So we actually spoke about it first
A
and then
long time. Yeah.
yes. And for you, because you'd already been assessed by Sarah, your other fanny physio,
Yes.
you knew exactly what you're coming for. But
Yeah.
with most other people, I send them home to think about it, and then they come back next time. We have another discussion and make sure that's the path we want to go on.
Yeah.
And then we spend the whole session making sure it's the right size and that it's comfortable and that you can put it in and take it out yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So remember, please don't be shy. Go and talk to your women's health physio, which is what I call fanny physios, uh, to uh, to talk about that as an option if you are experiencing P things, urge incontinence, frequency incontinence, or the bulge that, like me, your uterus had decided to want to descend a bit. Yeah. Okay. Cool. We're good. Let's talk the internal. That was another game. So
Yeah.
I initially had an internal with Sarah, my other fanny physio, and then had an internal with you as well. And you both use the same system. So we wanted to talk about the internal. So you've brought body bits along.
Yes, I have a model for you.
Perfect.
Um,
Yeah, I'm going to shut up. It's all yours. Talk us through
okay.
an internal.
So after we've gone through all of the muscles and you understand in detail the anatomy of the pelvic floor, then I do an external examination first. So this is an exam where I just visually look. So we separate the labia and we visually want to look, and in my head, I'm anatomically thinking of this muscle. So one important measure that we do take is a measure from the anus up to your urethra, which is what happens at the urethra, Jen?
So we pee.
Yes, good. So
Oh, I
we
thought that was going to be a trick question.
no, well, some people don't know that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
make sure everyone understands that.
Okay.
So we actually use this little stick here. We measure from the anus to your urethra.
Yep.
And we get you to squeeze your pelvic floor. And I want to see how much of a squeeze you have and how much the pelvic floor shortens. And then I also get you to push down and I want to see how much it lengthens. And just by doing an external examination, we can tell, do you have a good quality squeeze? Is your pelvic floor too tense? Or are we seeing that there's too much stretch? So
Right.
that's the external part.
Okay, cool. Okay, so that's the external. Yes, you've measured my bits.
Yeah.
I can honestly, I'm a very out lesbian. I might have been with a few women over time. No, I've never had a ruler there. Just sharing.
Yeah, so it's exciting for you.
I know. It is
gonna go-
actually, as a naturopath, it's incredibly interesting to understand this part of the body that I knew nothing about. Yeah.
Yes, and that's what I love is I'm like, you're gonna go home having learned something new about yourself.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
Keep going. Let's go.
so from there, making sure you feel comfortable, then we go on to doing the internal examination. And so the uterus is in the way here, but you can see that the pelvic floor also goes the whole way around the pelvis.
Okay, so if you're playing along, or if you want to play along and look at the video, which we've creating, go to YouTube and check it. Yeah, watch
So
it.
the deep pelvic floor goes all the way through the inside of the pelvis.
Yep.
Your bladder sits at the front of it, uterus in the middle, bowel at the back. So when we do an internal examination, we're just going a little bit deeper onto the muscles, and I'm feeling the strength, how long you can hold for, and how fast you can squeeze and relax your pelvic floor.
Yep.
And then I also get you to do a bit of a bear down, and I want to see what's happening at the front wall of the vagina and the back wall, and also at the top of the vagina. Is there movement? And if there is, how much? And going off that examination, that determines what we do for treatment.
And you're doing that with a gloved finger, for those of you who mightn't have worked that part out. And
Yes.
so that's what interested me so much, was that I was so tight. And I remember when I had the first exam with Sarah, the pressure points inside me were so sore. I was so tender, like everything was so tight. But yeah, I'd been smashing out Kegels, my version of Kegels, since I'd realized something was wrong and was waiting for an appointment. So I was making it worse.
And that's a good point as well. So you came with prolapse concerns, but if you came with pelvic pain or pain with intercourse, I would then actually do a little bit of a different examination. So when we examine girls that have painful intercourse or pain with inserting a tampon, or think they might have an overactive pelvic floor, we actually measure a few different points, and it's a little bit slower, and we make sure that we're very specific on the areas that we're pressing.
Right. So yeah, I had no pain, nothing.
No, not when you came.
I had no pain anywhere and no indicators. But yeah, those pressure points when you touched them. And I remember one stage you gave me homework to do, which was to do one of the pressure points and hold for like 10 seconds and then release it and stuff. So you give exercises for us to do. It's not just Kegels, guys. It's like seriously internal pressure points and things. But your art as human beings, caring human beings, definitely your next level, to be able to make us feel so comfortable in a really vulnerable position. So speaking of vulnerable positions, do you want to talk about when I stand over you?
Oh, yes.
I can't believe the first time that was asked of me, I went, what? No. But then I came to you for my second appointment. I went, can I just stand over you for a second? Can you just check this?
Yes. And once you get used to it, you're like, okay, can you check standing?
Can you just check this too? Yeah, check standing. Let's talk about standing, because for real, it's part of it. And again, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yes. So we get women to do a standing assessment as well. So I get you to kind of do a wall squat. So leaning against the wall in a bit of a squat position, and the practitioner will be underneath you. And we're also looking at where the vaginal walls are coming to in standing. I usually do it for women that laying down, their prolapse doesn't look to be as bothersome as the symptoms that they're complaining of. So I get them in standing.
So the gravity plays the part. That's what you do.
Gravity, body weight. Yeah. So if I look and I'm like, oh, I don't know why you're getting such bad symptoms, but then in standing, sometimes they're completely different. And for you, we also had you in standing, making sure that the pessary was sitting in a really good position, not just laying down, but also standing.
Yeah, and because I'm straddling a surfboard, and I was honestly worried, and you said, Jen, you have to relax when you're sitting on a surfboard. I was worried I'm straddling a surfboard. This is not too much information. This is real. Depending on what your sport is, you might want to do things where your legs are apart, because my brain thought, this thing's going to come out. And so I was worried that when I'm, sitting across a surfboard that's like 21, 22 inches wide, it's 2 foot wide, that this thing's going to pop out into me wetsuit.
Yeah. So that's why I
take
a whole appointment to make sure that we've given you the right size and the right shape. But also, if you're uncomfortable doing the standing assessment, you don't have to do that. For some ladies, if you just want to start with the external exam, that's
Yep.
totally fine. Because what we could tell from you, Jen, straight away when we did this measurement
Yep.
with the stick, I was like, oh, straight away, I was like, you're too tense. So I could have sent you away to practice that homework and then think about if you wanted an internal exam.
Thank you. So being real, I'm postmenopausal. The other thing that I've experienced, which a lot of women have got, is a natural atrophy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, you showed me different pictures and to explain what's, you know, I've got a natural atrophy as well. And as a naturopath, we're meant to have that decrease in estrogen. And so it's a natural thing that happens. And I'll talk about lube too, because you also got me using a cool lube, which I love. For those who are listening along, it's called Olive and Bee, or Bee and Olive, Olive and Bee. She's got one there you can show. It's excellent. As a naturopath, it's beeswax and olive oil. Because when it first started happening, there it is, it's called Olive and Bee. You introduced me to that. That's been a lifesaver because I went like to the chemist shop and because imagine part of my body that was meant to be inside was outside. And it literally, I couldn't walk, was walking like a crab. It was pinching all the time. And the discomfort that was what was horrible, the discomfort with that and sitting. And the lubes and things that I was getting from the chemist shop, all the water-based kind of lubes, didn't cut it. They didn't work, did not work. It was like they almost dried it out more. So the tiniest drop of that's been a godsend. I still use it every day. It just gives me a comfort
And
little.
you use it externally.
Externally.
Yes, to help with vaginal dryness, which helps with low estrogen.
Yeah.
That's something we can talk about and identify as well.
Yeah. Internally with the Pessary-Zoe, I use a water-based one, like you said.
Yes.
Yeah. But day-to-day comfort level, I use that every day. It's been so good. So thank you for that.
That's good.
Cool. All right. So you measure it, you do all the pressure points, all those kind of things. What's and this is something I've had because so many women have just went, Jen, you know, me too, since I've, you know, been so public about this. What's the normal timeline with women? You know, even I said to you, oh, come on, quick, how quick's this going to fix? Because I'm going to do it on Jen's timeline, not yours. There's no set timeline, is there? Because there's so many variables.
Yes, everyone's so different. Biggest thing is you really want to focus on your bowel health as well.
Yep.
Want to make sure that you're avoiding straining and being constipated because that repetitive pressure is not going to help you at all. So looking after your bowels, looking after your weight, so maintaining a healthy BMI. You also want to make sure that you're doing other exercises as well. So you want to be working on your core and working on your glutes to give your whole body support. So it's not just your pelvic floor and the pessary helping you.
Yeah.
But what they've found in the research is it's new, is about after 2 years, then you have more so a reduction of the prolapse without the pessary in.
Right. Yeah. So mine, it lets me know if I'm tired, it drops. If I've had a big busy day, it drops. I can't hold it in. But otherwise, it minds up a good half of the day plus. And it has done, you know, has done complete days up. Yes. I want to beat the statistics. I know.
Yes.
Simple pleasures. Yeah. All right. What do we want to leave women with? This is real. I looked it up. It's like 1 in 2 or 3 women will get a pelvic floor prolapse of some description in their lifetime, particularly over 50. It's way bigger. So
let's leave women with the message that it's never too late or too early to go and seek help. So if you have symptoms, but you don't have them every day and they bother you, go and ask for guidance and help and a bit of reassurance. If you've had your symptoms for a long time and you feel like it's too far gone, there's so many things we can do to help you.
Yeah, I agree. I had a girlfriend of mine who didn't know anything about, no, she came to me after I came out about mine, about my prolapse.
It sounded funny how you said
I know,
that.
I came out as being gay. This is scarier than coming out as being gay. It really was. Very vulnerable. Anyway, but she'd been peeing herself for 18 years.
Wow.
She went and saw Dr. Sarah Matten, my other one, my other fanny physio, who just works a little bit different to you. And that's why I see both of you.
Yeah.
4 treatments.
Wow.
She would pee in herself every day, 4 treatments after
That's
18 years of peeing herself. That's insane.
Yeah, and she probably thought, one, I don't want to tell anyone.
Absolutely.
I'm embarrassed that I have been putting up with this for so long. And also she probably didn't know who to go and ask.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you guys, you do such good work. So thank you. I hope that's been of help, everyone. What's the best way to follow you, find you? And because I play along, I talked about it on the last episode. I like watching your reels and posts that you do to say, here, let's play along. Let's do, 5 seconds and 10 fast ones. And I play along when you do those. So what's the best way for people to follow you?
So to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram, or my Facebook is the same. It's Women's Wellness Project.
That's it. It's not Fanny Physios. It's Women's Wellness Project. And you're an amazing Pilates instructor as well, and you do so much with pregnant women and women's health. It's not just pelvic floor stuff that Georgia does on her. If you go and follow her on the socials and things, she's got a ton of information out there. So go and check her out. Follow her and play along. That's it. We're cool. Thank you. It's such a great service that you do, and thank you for being open to doing this with me. I really appreciate being able to help other women with this.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be on here educating everyone.
Cool. Thank you. See you guys.